Good morning, everyone. Distinguished panel. A stage is set now. A lot of policy-related pillars have been elucidated already as to how ICT can lead to good governance. Well, as a company or as a person who is operating at the last mile or at the rubber meets the road level, where we are responsible for, we are one of the components of execution. I would try to now take some of these pillars and elucidate them through some of the experiences from these projects. So, mixing the policies with execution and trying to put forth some of the learnings which can be incorporated into future projects for their better and successful implementation to achieve the intended outcomes. In most of these projects, there is a larger vision that gets transformed into the policy, and this policy gets, then there are portions of this jigsaw puzzle where there are boxes, separate boxes. Each box we can consider as one project, like for example, say 31 projects of NEGP. So taking 2 or 3 of such boxes, say one of them smart card based PDS or UID project or stamp duty and registrar office projects. Well, these are few of the projects in which my company is a leader in the country, and I come from, my credibility comes from executing those projects successfully and citizens getting those benefits and ease of service, which is the ultimate theme of this session. What I can contribute is, for the successful execution, so one of the most important things is, as Secretary Sir has pointed out, and this we practice day in and day out in our company, is how to keep our focus on outcomes. In the day-to-day rag and roll and also slightly conflicting objectives of private sector versus public sector. In private sector, time and again the profit objective tries to force itself to take precedence over the intended objectives of the project. What we clearly do is, in each and every meeting or with every manager who is responsible for that particular project, we do a very simple thing. We take out first 2 pages of that particular RFP. That is where the actual intended outcome is elucidated, and we just put it with them. And in each and every training, we start the training with that, and we make sure that all the discussion happening is finally leading to those objectives or not. For example, for this smart card based project which we are doing, complete ration cards to be converted into smart cards and POS based transactions through a central application on the cloud for the whole of state. There has to be very solid planning before an RFP should be even to be written. As Secretary Sir said that JNK is now focusing on first doing a BPR before coming out with the RFP for the e-district. In my view, and in the opinion of most of the panelists as it has come out, this should be, I think, the most important component of the whole project execution. Before we rush into floating the RFP, and I will come to the other melies of that RFP part, but it is here that we should have a very strong team. They should be allowed to spend a lot of time and for formulating the broader objectives, processes, then as is to be analysis. Now, the question is who will do this and how will this be driven? So that is where the real problem is. One of the major challenges is, should the insiders do it or should there be an outside intervention? There's a trend nowadays across the states that most of the departments are taking the help of outside consultants. There's a good and a bad angle to it. In my opinion, this exercise has to be done by a team where majority of the people should be subject matter experts, and they cannot be outsiders unless there are consultants in that fraternity who have done a similar project in the past. I mean, there's no point in putting freshers like I am gun-toting freshers and just putting them on a sales tax project. They would not know head and tail of it, and they will try to complicate the whole thing rather than doing things very simply, which can come from the actually insiders, the subject matter experts from the same department who has been part of that organization for donkey's ages. So the planning is first part of obviously subject matter experts, and one of my suggestions would be, even at this stage, before doing a complete statewide rollout kind of RFP, we should do a small pilot, and this team who is doing this planning and RFP documentation should actually be involved in doing a small pilot beforehand. See, a lot of problems can be sorted out when they practically go through what is happening on the field, whether connectivity is available. See, for example, for a connectivity, for an IGRS project where 2 Mbps MPLS connectivity is to be provided and Cisco routers need to be installed. They have been installed, but the issue is now in that area the temperature is 50 degrees, and these routers are not designed to operate at that temperature, and now we are not able to meet that SLA of 99% uptime obligation. Now the interesting thing emerges. So unless we put an air conditioner, these routers wouldn't operate. And as a BOT operator, I am supposed to take care of the electricity bill of the whole office. And this electricity bill is, in the RFP, it has been illustrated that, for last 3 years, this is the average electricity bill of these offices. Now, as BOT operator has come in, the number of fittings have gone up 3 times already. And now if I have to put up an air conditioner...
Pradeep, can you please conclude quickly,
yeah, sure,
in the interest of time? So
this was one of the examples of a catch-22 situation which could have been avoided if a proper pilot was done before writing that particular RFP. Other very important pillar is capacity building with regard to stakeholders and public at large. See, what I call it as boxes counting vis-a-vis outcome counting. See, and most of the times currently what we are busy with, I'm not saying currently, but maybe 2 years back, it was more to do with counting the boxes. The hardware, the connectivity, and the core application, are they in place? If they are in place, project has been done. But the problem is, now when we go to the CONFED office where that particular supervisor has to transfer the quantity allocated from CONFED to the FPS owner, is he able to do that? And believe me, we have conducted this training 3 times. So, and I'm not complaining. I wish RFP provides that this training should be done again and again 10 times, because unless it is done, unless it is hammered again and again and again, people are not going to change their habits, they are not going to learn the things, and the intended outcomes would not come. Now, when planning has been done, RFP, obviously, please, for God's sake, let us do a lot of practicality, bring practicality and reasonableness to this particular aspect. Let us have very reasonable SLA conditions, and obviously they will become reasonable only when pilots have been done before I can go into examples of this. Maybe we can do it through question answer session. Payment terms need to be very practical. You can see the example of Delhi Metro. The Delhi Metro has spent more than 70,000 crores in 6 years. Hats off to them. I mean, is there a mechanism in any department who can dispense this kind of money in 6 years? No. Just please, if we can take some best practices from that department. You submit the bill before 10 o'clock today, the payment will be made by 4 o'clock, come what may. And no measurements are done, and some sample measurements are conducted. If the measurements are found to be more than what is existing on the field, then that particular service provider he will not get this facility of same day payments from the next time. This is how they have been able to pay like 70,000 crores, and cash flow is actually the heartthrob of the whole project as far as private sector is concerned. Unless we give that life blood and keep the wheels rolling, it will stuck somewhere. So this was with regard to RFPs. Then enabling ecosystem. I give this example time and again. Maharashtra has been able to do largest.
We have to really conclude now.
Sure, just 1 minute. Sir.
Session time is over. Actually, three more speakers to go. I don't know how I am supposed to manage. Sorry for it.
Yeah. So
can you please quickly conclude?
So, like this is the responsibility of the client or the execution team from the department. Take the example of Maharashtra. It is now #1 in Aadhaar enrollments, and the timely interventions from the IT department and Agrawal sir in terms of changing the rule of the game to make sure that with available amount of ICT or machinery, the maximum outcome should be there. They came up with so many GRs and circulars to make the whole process very simple, and results are here to see for everyone. So these were few of my thoughts on how to make the whole thing outcome based, so that citizens can get the intended outcome benefit of a particular project and not just counting the statistics or numbers.